Hello everyone. It is World Environment Day today, and there is absolutely no reason to celebrate. The image of a dying pregnant elephant remains etched upon our minds, and guess what? We did it. We are responsible. The Hindu newspaper, in an editorial, tries to delve a little deeper into this horrific incident and gives us some food for thought. The title is Killing GAJAH. GAJAH is Sanskrit for elephant. Killing GAJAH, a culture of exploitation, led to the painful death of an elephant in Kerala. Now, most of today's article is self-explanatory. However, I will be discussing the meanings of words as they come up while reading. An outpouring of grief has followed the death of a pregnant elephant in Kerala, the treacherous use of a food bomb causing widespread revulsion and anger. If something is treacherous, it involves betrayal or deception and presents hidden or unpredictable dangers. Revulsions are a sense of disgust. Scores of elephants are killed every year in India as their paths cross those of humans, but the image of a mortally wounded animal standing impassively in a river in Palakkad as life ebbed out of it will remain imprinted on the mind. Now, impassively means without emotions, unmoved or calm. But here it has been used to explain that the elephant stood calmly at one place out of pain. An ebb is the returning tide that goes back into the sea. So, ebb out here means life escaping the mortal elephant's body. Whether the booby-trapped pineapple that took its life was intended for elephants or other animals matters little, because such traps litter the troubled landscapes that surround forests across the country. A booby trap is a device or setup that is intended to kill, harm, or surprise a person or an animal. It is triggered by the presence or actions of the victim and sometimes has some form of bait to lure the victim towards it. Remember the mouse trap you used to set up before going to sleep? That was a booby trap. Such traps for wild animals can be seen in all landscapes that surround forests. Hence the word litter. The tragic fate that befell this creature, however, is a ghastly reminder of the rising conflicts between humans and animals that are only destined to grow as commercial pressures eat into already diminished habitat. Befall is to come upon, or something bad happen to someone. Ghastly means terrible, horrible, grim, awful, and the likes. The perpetrators may be prosecuted for the elephant's death, but that can do little to mitigate the larger issue of lost ranges and blocked corridors for these wandering giants. A perpetrator is a person who carries out a harmful, illegal, or immoral act, and to mitigate is to reduce the bad effects of something. India has thousands of elephants, just under 30,000 according to available counts, but no strong science-imbued policy that encourages soft landscapes and migrating passages that will reduce conflict. Ironically, Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar invoked Indian culture to explore what happened in Kerala, but it is the lack of a scientific culture and the readiness to spare forested lands from commercial exploitation that is eviscerating nature. To imbue is to inspire or influence. So science imbued would mean influenced by science or simply scientific. To eviscerate is to remove the essential contents of something. So commercial exploitation is basically removing all the essential aspects of nature from it. Even during the lockdown in April, the ministry convened video conference meetings of the National Board for Wildlife and Expert Appraisal Committee to clear disruptive projects in protected areas. Shrinking ranges and feeding grounds for elephants cause serious worry because the animals look for soft landscapes adjoining forests such as coffee, tea, and cardamom estates, and in the absence of these wander in food-rich farms, falling in their movement pathways. Research in Karnataka showed that 60% of elephant distribution was encountered outside protected areas. In Kerala, such movement along human-dominated landscapes routinely produces conflict. Unsurprisingly, politicians of many hues in the states were opposed to the Madhav Gadgil Committee report, calling for entire Western Ghats to be classified as ecologically sensitive and spared of destructive development. Hues are shades of colors. When we say politicians of many hues, it means politicians with different ideologies, different approaches. Madhav Gadgil is a Padma Bhushan awardee Indian ecologist who, in his report, suggested to declare the entire stretch of Western Ghats as ecologically sensitive in order to conserve the region's biodiversity. With such fundamental philosophical disagreement and a vision of verdant landscapes as nothing more than a resource to be exploited for minerals and cash crops, elephants and other creatures have little chance of escaping deadly conflict. Verdant landscapes are lush green landscapes, and cash crops, as you know, means all such crops that are cultivated for their commercial value rather than for use by the grower. A very nice example is cotton. A sensible course open to conservation-minded governments is to end all intrusion into the 5% of protected habitat in India and draw up better compensation schemes for farmers who lose crops to animals. An intrusion is entering a place or situation uninvited. A culture shift to protect rather than prospect would genuinely enrich people and save biodiversity. Basically, prosperity will come from protection. We need to protect and conserve biodiversity and the environment to be able to prosper in the long run. Sustainable development is the word. So this is what today's editorial was about. I tried to cover most of the words pertaining to vocabulary. However, if there are any left or any part of the article which is still elusive, feel free to come up with questions via any medium of contact. I hope all of you are sensitive towards animals and the environment around you and will never resort to such activities that may harm any living creature. As Mahatma Gandhi said, Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need but not every man's greed. This may as well be the conclusion of this article as well as the theme of this article and a principle of our life. With that as a food for thought, this is me signing off for today. Take care of yourself and the environment. Also, stay in and stay safe.